We're good. I'm getting ready to start.
Perfect. All right, so a little bit overview. We're going to talk about the biotechnology programs that we have, a little bit about the function of each of our areas, and kind of help you determine if you were looking at starting a program, what that would look like. All right. So, just going to briefly give you a little introduction. Some of you may have heard about the North Carolina State University. It's like a biotechnology collaborative called the BTech. It sits on Centennial campus, and you see this picture up here. It's this brown building on a beautiful campus right near the State Farmers Market. And we operate within my program area the second floor. So the second floor, and you can see it here in this slide, kind of overlooks the bottom floor. We operate what is called the Capstone Center. This is a function of Wake Technical Community College. And it's a very integrated, simulated work environment. So a lot of the techniques, a lot of the equipment, a lot of the processes that you'll see if you were to visit there are very much modeled after real life. So if you were to work at the Pfizers or the Mercks of the world, you would see a lot of the same equipment there. We focus a lot on support of expanding industries, of a new and emerging industries. So you may have heard about some of the expansions going on in Wake County. This includes Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, Amgen, um, Jaguar Gene Therapy, a series of them. Well, we're very involved in that, and we help to do onboard training of identified employees that have already started with the company. We also do upskill training too. So if you become an employee in this field, there's a good chance we'll see you at some point at the Capstone Center. And different areas that we focus on there. You can read these. We focus on good manufacturing practices, a lot of hands-on training. For information about what we do there, you can visit the ncbionetwork.org, and you can look for the Capstone Center, and you'll find we have about 100 different courses that we offer out there in all of these topics and more, always more being developed. Usually what I say, if it's 3 weeks or less, we run it at Capstone. Now, a little bit about like the everyday programs that you could come into and take, like as from the public or general interest. These are programs that you may find if we have an open house that we have these programs to offer for people that are just generally interested in the program. So we have 2 degree programs. We have one called Biopharmaceutical Technology Associate's degree. Within that, there's some certifications you can get. We also have the Biotechnology Associate's degree, and this is new as of this past fall. So we had our first cohort of students come in this past fall 2021. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then we have what's called the BioWork certificate. It is a 1 semester work ready certificate to help people get involved in biotech industry. So let's break these down just a little bit. So biopharmaceutical technology, what is that? Well, typically, or as we delineate here at Wake Tech, biopharma technology is more of the manufacturing environment, and it helps meet the demands for process technicians. Such industries include Merck, Biogen, GSK, Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, Securus, and many more. New ones like Amgen. You may have heard of Grifols, Novo Nordisk. It really expands beyond the region. Most of the jobs in the biotech field in North Carolina are going to be in manufacturing. And a lot of people steer away from them, but I worked in manufacturing. It was an excellent job. It's not the typical manufacturing in your mind. You think there's an assembly line, and I'm part of the assembly line. Most of it is automated, robotic. It's a very clean environment, and these industries are excellent examples of a great environment to work in. Now, a couple of the main topics, we won't go into all the different classes you have to take, but here is the high-level overview. In this program, we focus on components. If you're a hands-on person, you're going to like this side. We also talk about software or automation control. So we use programs like Delta V. We use programmable logic controllers, and that's basically those interfaces. They even make refrigerators with PLCs now where you can tap the screen and all the Wi-Fi and screen comes up. It's crazy all the things you can do now. It's just an interface. So we also teach things like quality and validation, making sure our products are safe and effective. And we cover different processes in biomanufacturing. So how we come to a single cell or a single organism and replicate it and then derive a genetic sequence out of it to insert into a plant and make a medicine out of. There's so many different processes, so many different ways that companies can do that and create medicine. And in this program, you'll learn about mostly the scale up process and distribution of medicine. A little bit about careers here. So a lot of graduates, so if you're graduating from our associate's degree, you're going to find that you qualify for several of these job positions you see here. Two of the main ones that we steer students towards an entry level is manufacturing technician and process technician. It doesn't mean that those are the only ones. There's also like manufacturing associate, fractionation associate. I've seen a couple of different ones come through, especially these days where they're trying to make the job sound a little bit more like a teamwork environment. So it'll be like manufacturing team member or something like that. But we have seen generally manufacturing and process in the verbiage most of the time. So let's talk a little bit then about the biotechnology side. So I mentioned we have a biotechnology associate's degree. And this degree is what we would call more of your lab technicians. These people, they'll work in biological, chemical manufacturing, and it does kind of divert off. You do have large corporations like the Biogens, like the GSKs, that may have a unit operation in their area that does chemical assay testing, that does micro or biological testing, and they would have some jobs in that field, not as much as manufacturing, but still quite a bit. But it also expands into other areas like Charles River Laboratories, LabCorp, Aerotech, um, Ag Biome, and there's so many other more. This is one of the largest open needs for employees right now, simply because they just can't get enough students. They can't get enough bachelor's and master's and PhD students. So they're starting to hire more and more technicians, paid well, entry level into these fields. So a little bit about this particular area. You're going to do a lot more bench lab type work. So if you kind of see this person here, they're doing more of a lone work, not so much a lot of big teamwork. You're going to focus a lot on the hard sciences. So a lot of the microbiology, chemistry. We focus a lot on genetics, DNA manipulation, cell and gene therapy in our program at Wake Tech. So some types of the careers that you're going to see, there's a lot of different careers you can have with this field, but you're going to see them come across. The main one is laboratory technician, but you also might see associate. You may be a research assistant, or you may be a instrumentation technician that works in the labs. You may be doing some sort of quality control or reviewing of records for clinical trials. That could be something that you do. So which program is right for me? So if you're trying to look at it as like a tree, at some point you got to branch into one of the two programs, right? If you're trying to see, do you prefer to work in teams or focus alone? Most of the work in biopharma will be done in work groups with specific areas of manufacturing. You could be with a team in a fill and clean room suite. The focus of your work includes very strict procedures and structure, and GMP, which it applies to everybody, will drive your success. Most of the work in biotechnology will be done independently or in small work groups. You could be working in a lab with like a small piece of equipment. You might be measuring the chemical content of a drug, or working within a research company to develop a process. You could be using a microorganism. You could be, using a host. It just really depends on where you work. And so these are very strict procedures, and you have to follow what's called GLP, or good laboratory practices. They will drive your success. You mechanically inclined, or do you like to work with your hands? Well, in biopharma, there are small but also very large equipment like two-story bioreactors, huge centrifuges, a lot of stainless steel, columns, filling equipment. Your role could be do minor pre and post cleaning, servicing. You could work at terminals to remotely monitor the drug. So maybe half of your job is at a computer terminal where you're looking at different inputs and outputs of a system through a software. In biotech, there's mostly small lab bench type equipment like pH meters, a thing called HPLC, which is high performance liquid chromatography, micropipettes, microscopes. See a theme here? Micro, micro, micro. Your role is to work with fine-tune, very analytical, very sensitive equipment, and to document each step, because this could be the make or break for a research and development company to be supported and funded by a funder. So you have to make sure all your records, you're kind of in control of those. Which entry-level job positions interest you the most? What keywords here? We talked about these before. In biopharma, process, manufacturing, quality assurance, inspection. Biotechnology has things like chemistry, microbiology, lab technicians, lab associates. Think about those, which kind of, when you hear those words, your heart skips a beat a little bit. Which one are you more closely tied to? And then let's progress out 5 to 10 years. What would you be interested in being called 5 to 10 years from now? Maybe with a little more education, maybe not, maybe with a little more work experience, of course. So biopharma, a manufacturing associate, an engineer or engineering technician, validation engineer, production supervisor, QA supervisor. And then in biotechnology, let's progress that out for 5 to 10 years. You're looking at a lab associate, a scientist, a lab manager, or clinical research supervisor. Those are just samples of the different jobs waiting for you 5 to 10 years down the road. So if you're thinking, okay, well, that's great to have an associate's degree, but I don't have quite as much time for a 2-year program, or maybe I want to just touch my toe in the water a little bit and see what it's all about. A great program to do that with is it's a non-credit certificate course. We call that here at Wake Tech Workforce Continuing Education, or WCE. But it is a short-term training course that can train you for entry-level position as a process technician. There's so many demands for these roles right now. Literally, a high school diploma or GED and this BioWork certificate is the entry level. And there's great salaries, a lot of jobs in this area for this field. And what does it entail? The BioWork certificate itself is like a job overview of the biotech, biopharma industries. It includes safety. It includes CGMP. It includes a lot of your measurements and metrics that you have to do. Chemistry, the process flows, controlling your process, working in aseptic environments. You're not gowned maybe 100% of the time, but there is a percentage of the time that you need to have the full body gown. So you're going to go through that, some of the practice with that. how we grow sales, and then finally, one of the most important pieces, we do a couple of hours, a couple of days on job search, resume writing, and interviews. And the good part about all this is, let's say you start working, but you say, hey, I decided I want to go back to school. We actually count 2 courses in the Biopharma Tech degree program, 8 credits, that's like half a semester, for BioWork. So you can actually not just use it as a credential to work, you can use it for credit later on. So some of the BioWork careers, you're going to see some of the titles mirrored from the Biopharma Technology degree, but a lot of them you're going to see is your manufacturing technician and process technician, where only a high school diploma plus a short-term training are required as a minimum hiring. So if you don't have experience working in manufacturing or pharmaceutical biotech manufacturing or chemical manufacturing, then this is going to be your best quick path to get on into that field. A little bit about where we're located. Okay, right now, as we speak, we have just opened, as in fall, this past fall, this top building here. This is an RTP 2 is the name of the building. It just has received a substantial donation from a company called Eli Lilly, which you may have heard of. They are a competitor in the insulin diabetic management field, and they're just now expanding and growing in RTP, and they donated a little over $1.2 million to name this facility. At this facility, we offer, it's the Morrisville campus, right off 540. We offer BioWork, which is a short-term certificate, the Biotechnology Associate's degree, and new this coming up fall of 2022, we will have a high school there, which has a focus in biotechnology. Also information technology, so IT, but a good number of our students will have the opportunity to earn a degree at the same time they do their high school. So that's pretty cool. We have this building is now open for business. The other campus, which I'm also so excited about, is called Eastern Wake, also tagged as Industry 4.0. This facility is going to house our biopharmaceutical technology program, along with a lot of other highly robotic, high automation programs, including our drones program, our police academy, public safety programs, and so much more. This is a beautiful campus, and we've just started working on that. That is in Wendell, and you can see it right off the 64 highway near the Coyote plant that's been out there for many years. But we will locate this degree program out there, and not only that, we will open up a BioWork course. We're getting ready to get that approved next, so we'll also offer BioWork there too. So there will be opportunities at those 2 campuses. We also offer BioWork currently at the Cary campus. It's our Western Wake off of Mill Pond Cary campus, and we offer biopharmaceutical technology, the one that's moving out to Wendell. Right now it's offered at our main campus, South Campus, almost in Fuquay Arena. So we really are along the outskirts of Wake County, really connected by 540, 440, the major roads. So if you have a question about where something is offered right now versus where it will be offered in 2024 or further, feel free to ask us. Let me know. I'm happy to share, because location does matter. But the thing about it is all of our campuses are about 20 minutes from each other. So, or where you live is about 20 minutes to a campus that could offer some version of biotech or biowork or biopharma. So this is my contact information. Again, I'm Leslie Eisenhower, Department Head of Biotechnology and the Director of the BioNetwork Capstone Center. And this is my email. I always tell people email is the best route. I have about 4 or 5 different campuses that I go in between. And come this fall, there'll be 2 high schools. So sometimes I'm trying to get in there with the students and get my hands dirty and work with the faculty as much as possible. So you are welcome to shoot me an email. It usually takes me a day to get back to you, but I really try to be responsive. And if I haven't, please send me a second one. I am not ignoring you. I may just be out of the office or busy or doing something with our students or our faculty. So you are important to me, and your decision on what you want to do is important to me. And I just appreciate the moment given to me today to talk through our program information. Okay, I've stopped sharing my screen. Does anybody have any questions or anything that I can help with today?
Leslie, I have a question, and I may have missed it because I've been hopping in and out of sessions. But can you, if you haven't mentioned this, can you talk a little bit about the Propel funding and BioWork?
The what? I'm sorry. I may not even know.
There's funding available through the Propel WakeWorks Propel for BioWork.
Okay, so I do want to say this, that there is a plethora of scholarship funding opportunities. If you are interested, I have so many students right now. I'd say from this past year, I don't think any of them had to pay for BioWork, and that's like a $300, $400 savings. Our associate's degree programs, both of them right now are sitting with open scholarships. So there's so many opportunities to come in, do a continuing ed course, get your feet wet, jump into an associate's degree, or continue down the path to where you want to go. But funding is not an issue at this point. There's so many opportunities, including Propel. We have others as well through our foundation. So there's a lot of different opportunities. And if you're interested, we can have that information sent to you. There's Monica. Monica put the actual link. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I stumbled around it, and so you'll have to forgive me. I'm still learning. I'm a year in, and I'm still learning all of the key words for the different scholarships and support mechanisms we had. And I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot, but you have a lot of good people on this call that can help you navigate decisions for your next step. Any other questions for me? And I want to give a shout out. This is, you'll see Cynthia Lawrence on this call. She is our brand new BioWork Program Director. Her official title is Biotechnology Workforce Continuing Education Director. So anything that is developed short-term biotech, biopharma, BioWork, that will be Cynthia. So Cynthia, I'd love for you just to say hi for a moment if you're here. I see you here. And that's all. But her first day was last Monday. So she has been in a mode of absorb all the things.
Oh, hello, everyone. So, yes, I don't know if you giving me a shout out or put me on the spot, but Leslie's great. So, yes, the BioWork program is just an awesome program. Prior to coming over to Wake Tech, I was at Pfizer, and I worked with putting colleagues through BioWork that worked at Pfizer. So, I'm very familiar with the BioWork program.
Yeah, and I'm just excited. Cynthia is a great resource for you. She already has a lot of ideas for our program for the future and how she can help you navigate the career, connecting to a career piece. So we do have a course coming up this summer. It's an online course for BioWork. We are one of the few colleges that are approved to offer it fully online. And we will have a few alternative option courses coming up in the fall that may be more hybrid, in person, online. There'll be a variety. We do have some questions in the chat, so I do want to address those.
All right, are those questions for me?
Well, some of them might be. We